Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel Read with Kim. And today I am really excited to talk about this because I've been reading War and Peace. I'm barely like 200 pages and I've been loving this so much. And I've been also receiving a lot of questions regarding how do you read so many classics? Like, what are your tips? So I was like, that's such an incredible question because I don't consider myself like an expert reader or like have a master's degree on English or classic literature or anything at all. I just enjoy reading so much and for some reason I love classics. So I want to share with you the tips that for me, even working and following those tips, it has been so much help about reading classics and it has been super easy. And the last one is like really powerful. So let's start with this video. My tip number one, it is super simple and it's basically choose a classic from your favorite genre. Meaning, if you don't like historical fiction, don't go and pick War and Peace. Don't go and pick The Miserables, right? Choose the one that you really enjoy a genre. For example, in my case, a genre that I really like it is thrillers, right? Thrillers are like, I like thrillers. So I'm gonna try a classic from thrillers. So I pick The Godfather, which has so many thriller vibes. And oh my God, until today, it has been my favorite book ever. And I love it. I got obsessed and I watched the movies. So it's every classic for every single genre. You're gonna find many classics from a lot of genres, everything. So if you enjoy Stephen King because you like horror, well, then go and look something from Edgar Allan Poe or the Bram Stoker, like Dracula. You know, if you like romance and you enjoy those like a beautiful, I don't know, Colin Hoover vibes and all those beautiful stories, well, you can maybe choose Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice. If you like then historical fiction, well, I recommend maybe go for Anna Karenina or it is always a classic for a favorite genre. So pick a classic that is from your favorite genre. Tip number two is this really important and it might take a little time for you. But if you follow this, it will make your experience a completely different story. And I am talking about translation. Look for a good translation book. Sometimes pretty often the very like kind of like cheap books or more affordable books, extremely affordable classics, the translations are just a disaster. So I recommend you to really look for a good translation, read a little bit about the translator so you have an idea. In my case, I'm going to tell you this. The first time that I tried to read Anna Karenina, my translator was so bad. Like the book that I was reading was so confusing. I didn't understand anything. I was just like, this is not for me. And then one of my friends gave it to me a different version of Anna Karenina from Leo Tolstoy. And I was like, okay, let me try it. Completely different. Same thing with War and Peace. I'm choosing this book because War and Peace has a lot of French, like a lot. Like there's so many like letters sent between the characters that are in French, and I was like, I don't even talk French. I don't even understand French. So this translation has a beautiful, like obviously English translation in the bottom of the book. So anything that I read in French, I'm just trying to look here. Anything that I read the book, in the very bottom is a translation from French. And it's actually make it really easy for me. So I really encourage you if you're gonna go and pick something that is kind of intense, especially like historical fiction, classic books, please take a little time to go a little research, check the reviews about translation, see like, okay, this is like a good reviews for a translation. That will make your life way easier and enjoyable. My tip number three, and this is really important, and listen to me, okay? I know we as our readers, we want to read as many books as we can. We want to always be, I want to keep in trendy books and what's going on. And there are books from everyone, right? So if you read a thriller, chances are it's super fast paced and you're going to finish the thriller in 2 3 days. If not, it's horrible thriller, right? Same with maybe horror books. Okay, But classics, many classics, and like 90% of the classics are made to slow down, to read it and enjoy it. So if you're gonna read a classic, don't rush yourself. Come with an open mind. Come with like, I'm going to enjoy this book. Because especially the classics from Leo Tolstoy, for example, or the most beautiful and amazing classics, the first 100 pages, 50 pages, depends on the length, they're gonna be like kind of slow, or kind of like a lot of historical what is happening in the society at the time, and you're gonna be like, what am I reading? But just go with the flow, and once you pass that slow motion of the classic, you're gonna encounter this beautiful and amazing story. So if you're gonna read a classic, go with that. Go to say, okay, I'm gonna dedicate a month or 2 months to this classic, and if some point you get like overwhelmed, you can pick up a thriller and then go back to the classic. I don't do that because I cannot read more than one book, but I was like, I'm not gonna time myself. I'm just gonna enjoy the book and go with the flow. And when I get tired of like reading these wars, I just put the book on the side and then I come back and I keep reading. And then I come back refreshed because it's such an incredible story. Like I don't remember as the day of today any classic that has been disappointing me at the end. Yes, it has been slow at the beginning, but at the very like mid, it can pick up. I'm like, this is such a like a gold book because for some reason there is a classic. So have patience to yourself and do not rush the classic. Next tip to read a classic is also like if you're really like beginner with a classic, there is so many classics that has a movie. So I recommend you to first read the book and then watch the movie. But if you see like, oh, okay, there is a movie of this classic, chances are the classic is really popular and is really good. Like Pride and Prejudice, right? There is a movie, so you can like, oh, okay, and read a book. Little Woman, there's thousands of movies made by the like years. So Little Woman is a huge classic. If it's a movie, so many movies. I'm gonna read it. Godfather, huge one. So I'm gonna read the book. So maybe you wanna like test a little bit about if it's a movie and check the classic, and that will like kind of like successful and have you inside the world of classics, because once you start reading two classics, three classics, you're gonna be like, I'm so addictive to classics, and you're gonna have this like amazing, because let me tell you this, and let me tell you this, once you read a classic and you finish a classic and you love the classic, your expectations are gonna be like this, like so high. So it's gonna be very difficult for you to find that level of writing, story, character development in other books. So do not lose the opportunity to read a classics. Recommendation if you are really new in classics, it is don't pick a very chunky classic like One Piece. Like listen, it took me like 2 years around until like when I started reading classics to actually read War and Peace, which I'm doing it right now. Like in my first year of reading classics, I was not willing to get in something that intense, especially because of the language. Sometimes it's really like, okay, I know this is gonna be a masterpiece, but the language is pretty intense and I'm not ready for that. So we cannot run if we don't know how to walk slow, right? So pick an easy classic. Like Little Woman is super easy classic. Tom Sawyer is a very cute classic and it's so easy to read. Godfather is another cute, nice, well, not cute, no, biopic classic. But it's really easy to read. That's what I'm saying. It's very easy to read. I'm just checking what do I have. Any story of Edgar Allan Poe is also very easy to read and it's very short. Don't pick up Dracula because Dracula is pretty intense and it's long. It's a long. Um, Frankenstein. Frankenstein is another classic, so easy to read and it's like a masterpiece. What other one? Rebecca from Daphne du Damier, another beautiful classic, amazing, fast-paced, short. So go for short classic if it's your first encounter. And once you start advancing as a reader, then you can start picking up like chunky books because now you're gonna start developing the reader habit, and also you're gonna know, okay, I know that I have to go through this. Um, slow time on the classic to get into the story. So in War and Peace, for example, I am on page 205, and the first 150 pages, I was like, but I know that it was coming, and it's not coming, and it was necessary. And I know how Leo Tolstoy writes because I read Anna Karenina, so I already know the style of this writer. But it was definitely not my first option when I started reading classics. So do not be so hard on yourself and start picking easy, short classics. So much, guys, and I hope you like this video. I hope those tips are very useful. They were very useful for me, and I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that I'm today what I am as a reader. My expectations have been changing, my habits have been changing, the things that I like have been changing. I've been growing a lot as a reader, and thanks to those tips and thanks that I was able to read classics, and I never give up reading classics because classics are, for some reason, it's like a classic movie, right? It's beautiful, and they're not gonna they're not gonna be like old, never. Like I Godfather until today is my favorite one, and Pride and Prejudice and Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte's like, I mean Charlotte Bronte's sister, Bronte sisters. All those are amazing. Like Bram Stoker from Dracula. Like please go and check the classics and follow these tips. And let me know also in the comments if you have another tip that it has been helping you to go into classics. And I'm gonna see you next time with another beautiful adventure. I promise. I hope it's not gonna take me that long. I just wanna finish War and Peace so I can give you a full review, and I don't want to read another book, but it's taking me time. I know it's taking me time, but it has to be this way. Remember my tip, I have to enjoy it, and I'm taking easy.